Hi, my name is Ken, and in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to share with you exactly how to use 3 little-known keys to accelerated fat loss so you can get the lean, flat stomach that you've always wanted, no matter your genetics or how out of shape or even discouraged you are right now. And I'm also going to reveal the number one food that causes your body to store fat. And I'll clearly explain why, through no fault of your own, your body has been programmed to store ugly belly fat year after year, and how to undo this programming in as little as 3 days. Now, this video can come down at any time, so watch it all now while you can. Also, please set aside the next few minutes to listen and watch very closely. What I'm sharing with you is a surprising and somewhat curious story of how I was able to finally lose 24 pounds of fat that had piled up around my stomach. Now, this happened after years and years of doing what traditional diets told me I should be doing, but they never worked for me, and the pain of failing left me feeling like something was wrong with me. I'm sharing my story with you because it's probably similar to your own, and I know the information will help you. If you've ever struggled with your weight or felt embarrassed to wear your swimming suit at the pool or even around your own house, then I think you will relate. I want you to get all this information, so please listen carefully, because in this video I'm going to share my own success story, and I'll also reveal the most overlooked secret to losing fat that almost every popular diet gets wrong. Now, if you studied the picture before this video, then you already have a big clue. But before I tell you the rest of the story, you should know a couple of things about me. First, I hadn't always been fat. In my younger years, I was in shape, and while I was never really rail thin, I was lean and trim. But after getting married, settling down and having kids, and then getting a desk job, well, the pounds started piling on. For me, the fat looked like a big spare tire around my waist, and a big double chin that I was always very embarrassed about. And when it was time for family pictures, I would find myself sucking in my bulging stomach, hoping that no one would notice how much fat I was actually carrying around. Over the course of about 10 years, and even though I would have moments when I would try to eat right and exercise, I had put on 24 pounds of extra fat. I was already feeling pretty bad about how I looked, but then I hit rock bottom. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I remember the doctor looking straight at me and saying, "Ken, you have to get your health under control or your future is going to be very bleak." So once again, I jumped on the dieting yo-yo roller coaster. For the next 2 years, I would lose some weight only to put it back on and then some. I was so depressed and frustrated. What was worse, my young son had picked up my bad eating habits and had gotten fat too. And one day he texted me the following note. It read, "Dad, can we just go work out? I really need this. I don't want to be fat and have to have medicine given to me through a needle." And that's when I had my wake-up call. I started reading, researching, and even bought hundreds of dollars worth of diet programs, but it all sounded like the same old stuff that I knew from experience just didn't really work. You know, eat less, exercise more. Right. Well, when I was almost ready to give up, an amazing thing happened. Out of sheer persistence and really a bit of luck, I finally stumbled upon a handful of hidden keys that unlocked the fat loss puzzle. The first key came to me from an unexpected source, my own garage. I had just moved, and as I was unpacking, I saw an old used book I had bought over 20 years ago just laying there as if it was meant to be found. I picked it up, and it was like a light bulb went off above my head. This book is out of print now, but it talked about how your body is really a survival machine. This helped me understand the way our bodies conserve energy and fat, and also how to outsmart it to get it to release fat on demand. Then the next key I found by reflecting on my own battle to maintain proper blood sugar levels due to diabetes. It turns out that controlling blood sugar levels is a key to losing fat. Now, little by little, I kept stumbling across pieces to the fat loss puzzle, and before long I had what amounted to a full-blown blueprint. A repeatable fat loss roadmap that just plain worked. What's more, it didn't require going to an expensive gym or counting points or even weighing your food. Instead, it worked entirely by knowing how to send certain fat loss signals to your body, signals anyone could learn to send. It was really an accident that I even discovered the first key, but sure enough, what I had found started working. These are strategies that most diets don't talk about, and I found that one by one, when I used these secret keys, my body would start shedding itself of fat. I started calling it a fat loss chain reaction because I could predictably start losing weight anytime I wanted now. But there's a problem. Before you can use these keys to fat loss and start your own fat loss chain reaction, I need to let you in on a dirty secret of the fat loss industry. Through no fault of your own, you've been led to believe several outright lies about your health. And as long as you unconsciously accept these lies, you'll never be able to break out of the state you're in right now. And that's a state of perpetual fat storage. I want you to try something. I want you to close your eyes and picture your ideal body with a slim, flat stomach, lean, muscular arms, and a defined jawline, and an overall look of health that is so irresistible that it's almost magnetic. Now, realize that the person you're seeing in your mind is actually the real you. There's an incredible body inside of you just waiting to be revealed. And the exciting thing to know is that everything you need to get that body is right in front of you now. You see, you're probably a lot like I was, slowly gaining a few pounds a year until it adds up to 10, 20, 40 pounds of extra weight you're carrying around. And sadly, you might have picked up a sense of embarrassment about how you look. Well, let me share with you just 3 of the big fat lies we've been led to believe, because I think these will really help you see what's been going on. The first big fat lie has to do with the type of exercise you have to do to lose weight. Now, big fat lie number 1 goes like this. If you want to lose fat, you should do 45 to 60 minutes of long, slow cardio. You've probably heard it a million times, maybe even by one of your friends. They'll say, I need to lose some weight, I better go to the gym and hit the treadmill. But the simple truth is, long, slow cardio gives you a temporary fat-burning effect. It's also boring and time-consuming, and that kills most people's motivation. What's even worse, it actually destroys muscle tissue, leaving you looking soft and frail, not the look we're going for. In reality, you only need about 30 minutes per workout 3 times per week if you're doing it right. This type of metabolic burst exercise will keep you burning fat for 24 to 48 hours after you stop your workout. What's even better is that no expensive gym is needed, and certainly no long cardio is needed. The second big fat lie we've all been told is to eat low-fat, health, and diet foods to lose fat. But the simple truth is, most of the so-called health foods marketed so heavily on TV actually cause your body to store fat at an alarming rate. You see, fat storage is controlled in your body by an incredible hormone called insulin. We can't live without insulin, but when insulin levels are too high, it signals our body to store fat immediately. This is the most overlooked secret to losing fat that almost every popular diet gets wrong. Most diets don't teach you how to regulate insulin so you can burn fat at will. Now, remember when you looked at this image earlier? Your mouth started to water when you thought about the orange juice. The visual signal told the enzymes in your mouth to start preparing to digest some icy cold orange juice. Now, it's probably already happening again. Well, that's exactly what happens inside your body when you eat the number 1 food that causes you to store fat. Except it's not such a pleasant reaction inside your body this time. In fact, when you do, your bloodstream gets flooded with insulin, which immediately shuts off your ability to burn fat. Now, the biggest question you should be asking yourself is, what controls insulin? And that leads us to the number 1 food that causes you to get fat. In fact, it's a whole category of foods called processed carbs. Now, carbohydrates are a very important part of your overall nutrition. We aren't talking about organic, whole food carbohydrates here. What I'm talking about is processed carbs. Processed carbs are dangerous because they spike your insulin levels. signaling your body to store fat immediately. Examples of processed carbs are whole wheat bread, whole wheat breakfast cereals, energy bars, and even some of the canned fruit juices. Now, when you ingest these foods at the wrong times and in the wrong amounts, it sends the wrong signal to your body. But there's good news. Just like there's a type of food that causes you to store fat, there's also a type of food that does just the opposite. In fact, it revs up your metabolism and helps you shift your metabolic profile to one that supports lean muscle and shedding of fat. The number one food that kills fat is high quality protein. Now, let's look at some examples of what high quality protein really looks like. Protein is ranked by how effectively your body can use it. And we start out with organic eggs, then grass-fed beef, Greek yogurt, and even wild salmon. These are all excellent choices of high quality protein. Now, by increasing your intake of high quality protein, you'll build more muscle, regulate insulin levels better, and turbocharge your fat loss efforts. Now, this teaching on the value of protein and which kind is the best for fat loss is just one of the many tips and strategies that I want to be able to share with you. Now, the third big fat lie we've all been told involves how to get rid of belly fat. Big fat lie number 3 states, to get rid of stubborn belly fat, you must do ab exercises using specialized ab equipment. But the simple truth is, there is no correlation between getting rid of belly fat and doing ab exercises. In fact, it can even make your stomach look bigger if you haven't lost the fat first. Ab exercises are not even close to the most efficient exercises to burn the most fat in the shortest amount of time. In fact, the truth is we all have abs. They're just temporarily covered up by fat. So to get rid of the belly fat, you want to concentrate on exercising the largest muscles in your body first. This sends the proper signals to your body and creates the most fat-burning effect. Now, some of the information I just shared with you probably goes against everything you thought you knew about fat loss. But one thing I want you to know is that your struggle with the fat on your body just isn't your fault. We've all been programmed to believe these fat loss lies and have been inundated almost 24/7 with infomercials on the internet, in news articles, and the constant exposure to this misinformation has been keeping us fat, sick, and frustrated for years on end. And unless you have access to this information, you'll never be able to break out of the beliefs that keep you locked up in a prison of ugly fat lies. Now let me tell you what happened after I used this information to drop 24 pounds of ugly belly fat. Within a week of shifting my thinking and putting these fat loss keys into place, I started to experience dramatic changes in the way my body looked. Every morning I would look in the mirror and see the results, and then when I got dressed I could feel the results. My pants got looser, my shirts started to look baggy, and that tight feeling across my abdomen from my belt, it vanished. I had lost over 24 pounds of ugly fat in a very short amount of time and completely transformed not just my body, but my entire life. In fact, everything in my life got better when I got rid of the fat that was holding me back. I started getting looks from some very cute young ladies, and I hadn't got those before, and my self-confidence skyrocketed. My energy level increased dramatically, and this allowed me to play with my kids and never wear out. And I could finally buy clothes that looked great on me, not the baggy kind I had to buy before. And I walk around with a quiet confidence now because I know that I've achieved something pretty special. Now, after I dropped the 24 pounds, I started getting questions from people I know asking me how I did it. When I would share the information with them, it was like a light bulb turning on in their head. And as they listened, they began to see through all the baloney and the lies they used to believe about fat loss. And they started to lose fat. James
For more information, click on the link below. For more information, click on the link below.